This podcast is made possible by you, the supporters of WPLN and WNXP, Nashville Public Radio.
This is the Nashvillager Podcast. It's December 3rd, 2025. On this day in 1923, a neighborhood on the northeast side of Davidson County officially got a new name when the DuPont Company built a whole community from scratch during World War I to support their gunpowder plant. The company initially called the village Jacksonville to honor Andrew Jackson. It wasn't that far from the Hermitage, so it seemed like a natural choice. But there was some degree of confusion because of cities with the same name in other places. 5 years after the Jacksonville post office opened, it was given a new name that evoked the same person, but through his nickname instead, Old Hickory. I'm Nina Cardona, and this is your daily digest of what's happening around Middle Tennessee with historical context from Nashville Public Radio, WPLN News. It's funny, renaming that neighborhood Old Hickory cleared up a lot of confusion, but the road with the same name is one of the more confounding things we've got going here. It's not quite as difficult for navigation as Atlanta's many Peachtree options, but the fact that you can be in any part of the county and still be close to a section of Old Hickory Boulevard can lead to some miscommunications. Back before GPS navigation was common, Metro did a marketing campaign for the non-emergency number that would give examples of a 911 call versus one that was a better fit for 862-8600. Help, I've been in a wreck. That was 911. Help, I got on Old Hickory Boulevard and ended up lost. Call the non-emergency line. Well, the latest bits of information about Nashville's soon-to-be neighborhood across the river from downtown is very much about names, and a theme is certainly emerging. The developer of the city-owned 30 acres adjacent to the new stadium has declared that it will be called East Point. That's all one word, by the way, no space. East Point is where the new Tennessee Performing Arts Center will be, along with affordable housing, a transit hub, retail, and park-like spaces. Basically, it's going in roughly the zone where the current football stadium and its parking lots are now. A neighboring plot of land just to the south of East Point, where the big metal scrapyard is now, is also getting a new name, East Bend. This time it is two separate words. And the name clearly evokes the plot of land itself, which is settled into a distinct curve of the Cumberland River. That land was sold in August for $245 million. The investor group that bought it has indicated they're envisioning family-friendly housing and entertainment options in an area that's even bigger than what the city is redeveloping. But East Bend will need more initial prep work. All the land on that side of the river has been industrial for more than a century. But scrapyards have an extra level of contamination risk. According to the EPA, there's often a certain amount of cleanup necessary to strip the soil of heavy metals from the scraps themselves, as well as the chemicals used to degrease scrap material, or stuff that could have leaked from items stacked and sorted there, like oil and gas that may have dripped out of the tanks in scrapped vehicles. So East Bend will have some cleanup before it turns into a proper building site. All of this, East Bend and East Point, are part of the larger area Nashvillians have taken to calling the East Bank, none of which are exactly in the part of town given the umbrella term East Nashville. That starts in earnest on the other side of I-24. Although maybe once people start to live on the East Bank, it will start to be lumped in with the older neighborhoods of East Nashville. Perhaps. But the East Bank also includes River North, which will be home to the new Oracle campus once it's built. That's an even bigger development yet. It'll have a lot of offices, but also hotels, retail space, more greenway and park areas. It'll also have another pedestrian bridge linking River North, and by extension the entire East Bank, to Germantown. We've got a lot of names to learn. We've got more East nomenclature to keep straight, and an extra cardinal direction thrown in for color. But all of this construction will still take years. So we've got time to get the new place names straight. In just a few minutes, this week's edition of What Where Wednesday. That's coming up after the newscast.
At WPLN, we tell stories about honoring our families.
If he become a monk, that means that mom and dad will go to heaven when they pass away.
and preserving memories.
I never heard of a Rosenwald School. Nobody's never told me that's where I went.
I'm Char Daston, and my reporting connects you with your neighbors and the important moments in their lives.
Here's the latest from WPLN News. Last night, Republicans were able to hold on to a congressional seat the party has controlled for more than 4 decades. Tennessee's 7th district remains red, but not solidly. Former State Commissioner Matt Van Epps fended off Democratic State Representative Afton Bain by nearly 9 points, compared to a 22-point margin last year. WPLN's Mariana Bacallao reports on what was different this year.
Voters' concerns about affordability shaped both campaigns. Bain used her failed push to end the state's grocery tax as the cornerstone of her campaign. Van Epps ran ads on bringing down prices, and it was front and center in his victory speech.
And together, we'll bring down the cost of living. I'm tired of too many Republicans ceding affordability to the Democrats.
Democrats' ability to address affordability concerns led to gains in other, more purple states last month. And while Bain didn't win, she did sway a lot of voters in a district that overwhelmingly supported Trump last year. All 14 counties moved further left, but not enough to bridge the gap in a Republican stronghold. Mariana Bacallao, WPLN News.
Bain conceded the race for the 7th Congressional District in front of hundreds of her supporters in a Nashville music venue.
This campaign proved that Tennessee is full of people who want to build something better, something that belongs to all of us. So tonight isn't the end. It is the beginning of a next chapter of Tennessee and American politics. One of possibility, one of power, and one of progress for the people that we love. So thank you. Let's keep going. We're not done. Not now. Not ever. Thank you.
Bain said her volunteers knocked on more than 70,000 doors, made over 185,000 phone calls, and raised $2.8 million. But in the end, Trump-backed Van Epps pulled ahead in some of the more conservative counties in the district. Tennessee is set to carry out its 3rd lethal injection of the year, executing Harold Wayne Nichols next week. Concerns about mismanagement and painful death are growing, especially after the last man to be executed groaned and said he was hurting as he died. That's why Nichols' lawyers are fighting for information about the state's lethal drug supply. WPLN health reporter Catherine Sweeney tells us a judge will decide whether those records can be kept hidden.
Harold Wayne Nichols' legal team is just the latest group of attorneys wanting to get a hold of these records. Here's why. Tennessee doesn't have a stellar track record with sourcing and testing its drugs. They're not easy to get. No manufacturers will sell them to states for executions, so prison systems go underground. Then, state law shields the identity of the sellers. Nichols' attorneys requested several records that have nothing to do with the seller's identity, like the expiration dates for the drugs on hand and results from recent quality testing. The Tennessee Department of Correction refused. It argues that while these records don't directly expose sellers, they could contain clues for people who are working to expose them. Nichols' attorneys sued. A Knox County judge said he wants to privately inspect the records to decide whether that was legal. He gave TDOC until Wednesday to hand them over. Catherine Sweeney, WPLN News.
The state of Tennessee cannot use the National Guard in the Memphis law enforcement surge while a lawsuit questioning that deployment goes forward. That's the ruling passed down from a judge Monday night. The order from Davidson County Chancellor Patricia Head Moskal grants the temporary injunction that was requested by local leaders from Shelby County. In her order, the judge references the conditions under which the state constitution gives the governor broad powers to deploy the Guard. She says, quote, "There is no rebellion or invasion currently taking place in Memphis." The order also points out that the federal government did not make a formal written request for Governor Bill Lee to deploy the Guard. The state has 5 days to appeal the decision. A former Metro employee has been indicted after a comptroller investigation found more than $62,000 in misappropriated taxpayer funds. Investigators say that when Mark Etherly was deputy executive director at the Metro Human Relations Commission, he directed city funds to organizations that he was operating. They also found improper reimbursements for personal expenses. WPLN's Tony Gonzalez says the probe also looked into the campaign to preserve a high-profile historic building downtown.
For years, there'd been worries that the Morris Memorial Building would be redeveloped, disrupting its historical ties to prominent black businesses in Nashville. In 2023, investigators say Etherly was part of the Save the Morris campaign, but he authorized nearly $200,000 to go toward the preservation effort without permission, when that funding should have been subject to votes by the Metro Council. The Morris did sell, and it's being developed into a hotel.
Etherly resigned from the Metro Human Relations Commission in July and was indicted on 3 counts in the past month. WPLN News had interviewed him several times over the years, usually about civic-minded projects. Those included benefit concerts, community gardens, and a phone line designed to help people with language translations. After rain forced Bonnaroo to cancel almost all of its shows last year, a lot of people wondered if the beloved Music and Arts Festival would return. Bonnaroo announced it will be back in Manchester, June 11th through 14th. Music reporter Justin Barney breaks down the lineup.
The once mostly bluegrass and jam band festival seems to go further and further into dance and EDM every year, with a major name in the genre co-headlining each night. This year there's also an emphasis on pop. Nashville's own Kesha presents a super jam on Saturday and then co-headlines on Sunday. There are more locals than last year, which isn't saying much. Alabama Shakes and Rainbow Kitten Surprise are playing sets. And indie music is not dead at Bonnaroo. Baltimore breakout Turnstile made the jump to the big letters, co-headlining on Friday. And WNXP favorites Geese, Amel and the Sniffers, and Wet Leg will be playing. I'm Justin Barney, WPLN News.
To deal with the rain, Bonnaroo also announced upgrades to the festival grounds like improved drainage, miles of new roadways, and 135 acres of new turf. You'll find more news anytime at WPLN.org. Special holiday shows are underway around Nashville, and of course, Marquise can tell you what's on.
I'm Marquise Munson, here with another edition of Nashville Public Radio's What Where Wednesday, keeping you up to date with the happenings in Nashville this week. On Thursday night, do 615's 13th birthday party like it's 2012 at the Basement East. Back at the same venue on Friday, get into the Christmas spirit with J.D. McPherson presents Socks, a rock and roll Christmas. On Saturday, Nashville Punk Rock Flea Market is at Eastside Bowl. Also, JID performs at Marathon Music Works, and Choke Cherry is at Cannery Hall's Row 1 stage. Sunday night, Portugal the Man is at the Caverns, and on Monday night, Erykah Badu performs at the Pinnacle. Also on Monday, Alana Royale, a Royale holiday, is at City Winery, and wrap up this week's listings on Tuesday with Billy Martin performing at the Basement East. For more events, head over to WNXP.org/events. This week for What Were Wednesday, we feature Solace and Synergy happening at Oz Arts Nashville this Friday and Saturday. A double bill of original premieres merging dance, film, and music featuring local artists Becca Hoback and Shabazz Yajima and Thea Jones of Shackle Feet Dance with the music of Rod Magaha.
My name is Thea Jones, founding member and co-artistic director of Shackle Feet Dance with Shabazz Yajima. We met on a random day in 2015, took a class, and we ended up in the same rehearsal space, and all of a sudden we were asking questions. And he was like, well, what do you do? Or what do you do? And I'm like, well, I did that. So did I. So did I. So I was like, whoa, who is this human? He's like a soulmate to me. And so from that point, he was like, I want to start this dance collective, like based in modern dances, which is what we do. And I was like, let's do this. And so that's how this thing was birthed. What's special about it is we don't want it to be isolated to like the middle, like the 20 to 35 dancer, just that human. We actually want this collective to represent humanity and all of those perspectives. So different people, different abilities, different ages, different cultures, because all those voices create this human experience. Although the dance itself may be from the Black experience, but even that is human. So we want to make sure that we are circular in that way. so we are super fans of Rod Magaha, Shabazz and I. And so we're always like, when we get the chance, we are going to work with this guy, you know? And so when this opportunity came up, he was like, yes, this is it. So synergy, I think, appropriately came up because the work we do with Rod is so multidisciplinary. So we synergize. That's what we do. We find ways in which our art talks to each other. And so how to make this theme broader, and like, how do we take these people that we know, these dancers, these creatives that we know, and bring them into this collective and create this work. So with Synergy specifically, we are exploring these relationships between the dancer and the musician, the dancer and multimedia, the human and the human, those with different abilities and those with whatever societal standard abilities, the elders and the youth. So all these relationships will be present on stage. The brilliant Rod Magaha has gifted us all of his music, like this amazing catalog, and he is just peeling them out, like all these beautiful songs, and they're so diverse. And so we have the privilege of using his music for this piece. In addition, we have the privilege of using his art in this piece. Also, he's doing photography, which we know he's amazing. We are sharing this 2-part bill with the incomparable Becca Hoback. She'll be presenting a solo piece called Solace, the first 40 minutes. We are the second. So we are 2 halves of this peanut butter and jelly sandwich, okay? So this beautiful, lovely piece that is a solo piece that explores deeper and more concentrated topics will be paired or complemented with our piece, which will hopefully lift you. So hers is exploring light as a scan of the body. Ours is exploring light when projected from the inside out. So what we want you to leave with, A, is to be happier than you came. What you will experience is a multi-generational, multicultural, differently able dance collective that is telling stories from all these points of view that wouldn't normally gather in the same place at the same time, but this shared commonality has brought these humans into this space. So we hope that you, A, see yourself reflected on stage, see yourself reflected in the space, connect with maybe someone or something that you see, color, art, photography, movement, storytelling, all of that will be present there.
For more information on Solace and Synergy at Oz Arts Nashville and other events happening this week, visit WNXP.org. My name is Marquise Munson, and thank you for listening to another edition of What Were Wednesday.
Early in the morning, got the sun in my eyes, giving glory to God, I'm alert and alive. I ain't even sleep, I've been working, I'm tired. But it's not gonna deter my assignment at the Lord's service like I'm working a job. Black man shouted, robbing people.
We do this roundup of Nashville news every weekday, so subscribe in your favorite podcasting app to make sure you never miss an episode. And if you like this, you'll probably enjoy the Nashvillager newsletter, too. You'll get perspective from more of my colleagues at Nashville Public Radio and links to the stories we're following. Sign up for those daily emails at WPLN.org/Nashvillager. Thanks so much for listening. Let's make this day a good one, and we'll catch back up tomorrow.